fame, loyalty, artistry, content, freedom, honesty, love, music, art, change, wisdom, knowledge, new chapters. These the new chapters.
Okay, most people know me as someone who inspires others, who motivates people, who changes people's lives and helps people to grow their business and get more connected with themselves and with others. And it wasn't always that way. So I've grown a lot over the last 6 years, but even before that as well. And some people know a bit of my background, but a lot of people don't as well. And the other day, I was sorting through some boxes in my house and I found these transcripts of when I went to court almost 11 years ago. And it was pretty heavy finding these and reading them back. And I just wanted to read some to you. So the first bit says, this is His Honour, the judge speaking, Ellie Burscough, you've been convicted on your own plea of guilty of possessing more than 2 grams of ecstasy MDMA. You were in fact found in possession of 35 ecstasy pills weighing 8.895 grams, in total of 26.2% purity, together with $1,470 and 2 telephones, one of which contained 2 messages regarding the distribution of drugs. You were plainly selling drugs outside of Fortitude Valley nightclub. The drugs you were selling were ecstasy. Take the time to have a look and see how many people have died from the use of ecstasy. You heard what I said to the previous offender. When you give these drugs to someone else, you put their lives at risk. And even if they don't die, you put them in a position of becoming habituated to drugs. That leads them to crime and it leads them to the destruction of their health. It is morally reprehensible. That is what you did. And then he goes on. Basically, as we go a bit further, it says, ordinarily this offence would warrant a substantial period of imprisonment in excess of a year, perhaps in some cases even worse, even more imprisonment. There's further things there. Your age and the fact that you have no previous convictions makes me reluctant to order imprisonment, but I see no alternative to that course. The offence is simply too serious not to impose a sentence of imprisonment. And actually I'll read this bit as well. I sentence you to imprisonment for 1 year. To recognise the mitigating factors to which I have referred, I make an intensive correction order if you are agreeable to it. So as you can see from what he said there, he was laying it on me thick, yeah? He was trying to make me feel bad for what I did, and I should. And I did at the time. It was the worst day of my life, sitting there in court with my mum behind me crying and myself crying as well. I was only 19. I couldn't afford a lawyer. I had legal aid who really stuffed things up a lot. And as you can see from the words that he just used, it sounded like I was going to jail. And that's when I started crying, because I realized from what I was doing, I thought that I was having the time of my life. I was a party girl. I didn't love myself at the time. I was sleeping around. I was just doing drugs and selling drugs and just partying like all the time. And that was because I couldn't be alone, and because I didn't love myself, and because I felt I needed to be high and I needed to be surrounded by people to get that love from others, or that high, that happy feeling. And I can now say this 11 years later, through a lot of personal development and a lot of work on myself, and truly loving myself now, I can see the reflection. It wasn't the best time of my life. It was the worst time of my life. I wasn't loved by these people. I wasn't getting love from friends or sex or drugs. It was fake. And now I get love from a deep connection within myself through personal development, through exercise, through my family. But not even from external factors, from within myself, because that's where your true love and happiness has to come from. And so back then, I was destroying my life and destroying other people's lives, like the judge said. And now I'm transforming people's lives and have transformed my own life. And I'm only able to transform other people's lives because I've done the work on myself. So you're probably wondering what happened, what the end of that story was. I didn't end up going to jail, even though it sounded like it, and he was trying to scare me, and so he should. I ended up getting a year's sentence to be served in the community. So that meant I wasn't allowed to leave the state. I had to do community service for a year. I lost the money that they found on me and the phones as well. I had to check into probation twice a week as well, and if I got caught again for anything, I would have been sent to jail. Not only on top of all of that, I lost a lot of friends. People thought that if I hung out with them that I would dob them in and things like that, which I didn't. I didn't give any information to the police, and that's what actually made that sentence longer. But I didn't want to do that. And so I lost my friends. I stopped going out clubbing. Shortly after I lost my boyfriend, I got kicked out of the house I was living in by my flatmates, because bringing police dogs through the house at 2 a.m. isn't something that most flatmates like. And my dad didn't speak to me for a long time as well. And I had to drop out of uni because I didn't know if I was allowed to be a teacher, which is what I was studying. And so it completely changed my life. And it actually changed my life for the better. Yes, I did use drugs after that. Not as crazy as I was before. I never dealt drugs again. And I did take time off after that. But I completely stopped. I haven't taken any drugs since, what year is it? Start of 2009. And that was when I met my partner, and I fell pregnant shortly after with my daughter. And my partner and my kids completely changed my life again. And so, you know, I went through all of that, and it taught me so many lessons, and it taught me to go on this journey of personal development, and so that I could work on myself to be able to help others transform their lives. And so now I see it as, you know, you shouldn't waste your life away. Using drugs, medicating yourself with drugs or alcohol, or binge watching Netflix, or doing anything that's destructive to your life and holding you back from your true purpose is going to hold you back in life. And you should focus on building yourself up instead of tearing yourself down. And so that's where I've come from, and finding this transcript and this tape as well of the police interview. This is now closure for me, full closure. I've been over it for years, but now I'm going to burn this, and I'm going to fully close that part of my life and say goodbye to the past.
Fame, loyalty, artistry, content, freedom, honesty, love, music, art, change, wisdom, knowledge, new chapters. These the new chapters.